योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम् यं गुरुं हि स्वयं सत्यः प्रज्ञाभक्तिविनीतयः दीप्तिश्चाभिवृता नित्यं तं गुरुं प्रणमाम्यहम् सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। 36 okay. योरण्योर्निहितोऽग्निरात्मनि महायोगैर्भृतो गर्भवत् नारीभिर्जठरेप्स्यहन्यहनियः स्तुत्यो बुधैः कर्मभिः जाग्रद्भिर्हविराश्रयैः स्वहृदये यज्ञेत स ब्रह्म तत् भानोर्जन्मलयौ यतो यतैमे देवास्तदत्येति कः यो ब्रह्मादितृणान्तदेहनिहितः नानाघटस्थाभ्रवत् जीवोऽयं निरुपाधिकामलसुखज्ञानस्वरूपं बृहत् यो विद्यातिमिरप्रदूषितदृशः नानेह पश्यत्यपि ब्रह्मण्येष समृत्युमञ्चति पुनः मृत्योर्जनेर्जन्म च आचार्यागमसंस्कृतेन मनसैवाप्तव्यमेतद्बृहत् द्वैतं नास्त्यपि किञ्चिदत्र हि ततः भेदं न पश्येन्मनाक् देहान्तर्हृदयाब्जगेन मनसा योऽङ्गुष्ठमात्रः पुमान् आस्ते सर्वमहेश्वरस्तममुखम् ब्रह्मैत्यविज्ञो भयः निर्धूमाग्निरिवामलोद्युतिमयः अङ्गुष्ठप्रमाणः पुमान् ईशानोऽस्य च भूतभव्यभवितुः कालत्रयव्यापकः स ब्रह्मैव शरीरभेदमनुयः नानात्मनः पश्यति भ्रश्यत्येष यथोदकं गिरिशिरे वृष्टं ततोऽधः पतत् शुद्धे शुद्धजलं जले विनिहितं शुद्धं यथा जायते ब्रह्मात्मैक्यविदेवमेव भवति ब्रह्मेति निःसंशयम् एतस्यास्ति परात्मनः किल पुरम् एकादशद्वारकम् नित्यज्ञानसुखात्मनो मुमग्धः ध्यात्वा भयो मुच्यते हंसोऽयं दिवि भास्करोऽम्बरतरे वायुश्च वेद्यां शुचिः सोमो वा कलशे गृहे सदतिथिः संवर्तते ब्राह्मणः Martyasvargarta havambaragataha varjavanijatmakaha yajñāhango girijatmakas samamayaha satyasvabhavo mahan. So the verse 41, I was mentioning in the previous class that this verse 41 tries to paraphrase the content of the second mantra of the fifth valley of the Kathopanishad. The second mantra goes like Hamsashuchishadvasurantarikshasatdhota vedishadati nasat Drishadvarasadritasadvyomasadabja gojartaja adrijaratam brihad. So this is essentially occurring in other parts also, not only here in Kathopanishad. There may be very minor variations. This mantra occurs in various parts. I also gave you roughly the meaning of the verse. So what does it tell you? This is a little tricky to understand without proper background or firm founding as to why it has been employed and how the words have to be interpreted here. After all, the question has been regarding this Atma. So it has to be necessarily referring to that Atma. And in the previous thing, Puramekadasadvaram, so there also, so we explained in great detail how it refers to Atman, and this mantra obviously has to refer to that Atman only. So this mantra, Sat 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 we have. The word Sat Sat here is to be understood as Tasmin Sidatiti Sat. That is how we have. Agum Shushishat. Shuchau Sidatiti Shushishat. Divi Sidatiti Divishat. This is how one has to understand the various parts, the words that are employed in this mantra. So Ramarāya essentially has captured almost all things that have been stated in this mantra without leaving in this one verse. But there is only one slight variation which I will try to point out a little later as we look into the Bhagavad Pada's commentary also. So let us take the commentary. I was briefly explaining the content of the verse in the previous class. So let me start the Vyakhyanam. So Vyakhyanam, the first sentence opens as Satu Naika Sharira Paravartyatma Kintu Sarva Sharira Paravarti Ityaha Hamsaha Iti. Ayam Hamsaha. Hamsaha, I was mentioning, this is something which has been derived not only here, in various other places. Okay. Hanti ti Hamsaha. Hanti. Hanti here means Gachati. Hanahimsa Gatyoho. So both are referred to by the word Hanti. Okay. So Hanahimsa Gatyoho. In fact, if you take the texts on mathematics, they will always use Hana. Hatam means multiplied. So there it is essentially Gati. What you have to understand is Dvayam Hatam. Kena Hatam, Shatena Hatam, suppose you say. Then you will get Dvishatam. How do you get Shatam? So there, Gati, essentially, you do it as many times as you run the same number and then count it. So it is in that sense, Gati. Okay. So how many times this number will go. And if you add, you will get this number. So that is how the word Hatha has been employed in mathematical texts. So here the same hanti means gacchati. Gacchati, kutra gacchati? Sarvatra gacchati. So there is absolutely nothing which prevents the presence of this Atman. In fact, it is Atman which is present, and therefore it is said, metaphorically it is said, gacchati. Okay, sarvatra. Therefore, Ramarāya says, vyapnoti. Gacchati should be understood as vyapnoti. So, sarvam vyapnoti iti hamsaha. Okay. So, the first word is hamsaha. So, that has been mimicked here in this verse also. Agum sashuchishat. Then in the mantra you have shuchishat. So, he will take it later. So then we have here the Hamsaha Atma. Then Divi Bhaskaraha Tadrupena Vartate Ityarthaha. So Dyauhu we need to understand. See, there is a space which is there, and the space is also divided into various spheres. Today we divide them into various spheres for various conveniences to analyze. So there is something called Antariksha. So Antariksha is something which is closer to. So space goes beyond. So Divi refers to some space which is far off. So here he says, Divi Bhaskaraha Tadrupena Vartate. So the one who is emitting light to you in the form of Bhaskara is none other than this Atman. That is what he is saying. Divi Bhaskaraha. Then we have Ambaratale Vayuscha. So Ambaratale. So this Ambaratala here refers to something which is very close to earth. Okay. So Ambaratale Vayuscha. So he is in the form of Vayu, in the atmosphere which is close to the earth. Okay. Then, see, what does he say? Divi Bhaskaraha Tadrupena Vartate Ityarthaha. Further he says, Adityopadhikam Chaitanyam Atmaivetyarthaha. This is an interesting usage. Adityopadhikam Chaitanyam. So it does not refer to the physical mandala of that. This Shariropadhikam, see, Karyakaranopadhikaha Ayam Jivaha. You say like this, right? So similarly, there is a mandala which you see, and Mandalopadhikam Chaitanya. So the one which has this mandala as Upadhi, the conscious being, which has this orbit, the sun's orbit as Upadhi. See, sun's orb as Upadhi rather, not orb. Adityopadhikam Chaitanyam Atmaivetyarthaha. Evam Uttaratrapi Bodhavyam. Uttaratra means there are various other things which are being described here. So there you have to understand that it essentially represents the Chaitanya which manifests itself in this form, which has taken this Upadhi. Then Ambaratale. Ambaratale means Antarikshe. Ambaratale Vayuhu. Then Vedyam cha Shuchihi Agnihi. What do you understand by this Vedyam? Vedyam cha Shuchihi Agnihi. That's what is being said. The word Vedi is used to refer to the space in between Ahavaniyagni and Garhapatyagni. So if you conceive of a Tretagni in the Agnihotra thing, so the space in between is called as Vedi. So this is the normal Vedi which is employed for the Agnihotra in every Dikshita's place. There is something called Mahavedi which will be conceived of in a yaga. So where that will be a much larger space. So here he is saying Vedyam Shuchihi. So in that Vedi, he is to be conceived as Agni. Okay. Vedyam Shuchihi. This is how Ramarāya interprets here. So when we go to this Bhashya, I will tell you there is a certain distinction which has to be brought, as we saw in the previous instance also. Vedyam Shuchihi. Then he says, Kalashe Somaha. Somo va Kalashe. Kalashe here refers to the pot in which the Somarasa is kept for the yaga. So you should conceive this as Kalashe Somaha Atman. So whatever you can think of, so it is this Atman which is residing there. It is basically Sarvatma Bhava. To just list, there are a few things which have been listed. Then Grihe Brahmanaha Sadatithihi Yogyatithis San Vartate. So that is the later part of the verse. Grihe Sadatithis San Vartate Brahmanaha. So that is also this Atman. Then Martyasvargarita Havambaragataha. This is a compound. Gataha means Tatra Vidyamanaha. So Kutra Vidyamanaha says there are a few things which are listed. Martya, Swarga, Rita, Ahava, Ambara. So these are 5 things which are listed. So here there could be a question. Brahma Rishihi. So what will be the form? Brahma Rishi. Sapta Rishihi. Sapta Rishihi. Swarga Rita. You will get Swargartha, right? Aradhana is also nodding here. How does Ramarāya split that? Martya, Swarga, Rita. These are the words. Martya, Swarga, Rita, Ahava, Ambara. Okay. So Gataha means the one who is residing in them. This is how we have to understand. So the one who is residing. Matyasvargaritaha vambaragataha. If you do Sandhi, then it is gone. What is gone? One word will be missing. Okay, one syllable. So the meter will not be satisfied. So Ramarāya does the trick of using this Vikalpa Paksha. Okay. So there is a Prakriti Bhava is also possible. Okay. So there is a sutra for that. See. So you should learn that sutra. That sutra is simple. Rityakaha. 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 How do you understand? Riti. Riti. When followed by Rikara. Correct. Correct. Avarnat. Rikare pare. Then Ak. Ak, in fact. So here the thing is, so there is a Paksha, Shakalya. Shakalya has given this option. Okay. So according to Shakalya, same Shakalya, so he has said that you can have a Prakriti Bhava. So this Gunam Badhitva, you will have the same form. Okay. So this is true for not only R but also L. Okay. Suppose you want to say Sapta Likaraha. Saptalkaraha you can say, or Saptalkaraha you can also say. Okay. So that option has been exercised by Ramarāya. That is how you have this form. Okay. So this akvarna, see, it is not only for a. So what you have to understand is it is ak pratyahara. Okay, whether it is e, I, u. So any of these things. So you can have. And riti is what is used. So which means if you have a long r, you cannot exercise this. Only hrasva. Okay. So this is something which you have to understand. See. So this is in 6th adhyaya. 6.1.128. That is the sutra. Hrityakaha is the sutra. Okay. So gunam badhitva. So this form comes. Svarga Brahmarshihi. So Brahmarshihi, suppose you say, you can use Brahmarshihi or Brahmarshihi. So here Martya Svargarta Havam Baragataha. So Martya Gataha. See, Martya Gataha means Martyeshu Chaitanya Rupena Virajati. That is how you have to understand. Svarga. Svarga means Swarge Virajati. See, Swashabdena Nakaha Grahya. Okay. So this Nakam. Nakam essentially means Swargam. So here the Swa itself can mean. That is why we have this Padya. Yenna dukkhena sambhinnam nachagrastam anantaram abhilashopanītanca tatsukham svafpadaspadam. You want that? Let me repeat. It's a good verse to know. Yenna dukkhena sambhinnam.
Yenna dukkhena sambhinnam. Yenna dukkhena sambhinnam.
Nachagrastam anantaram.
Nachagrastam anantaram. Nachagrastam anantaram.
Abhilashopanītanca. Abhilashopanītanca.
Abhilashopanītanca.
Tatsukham svafpadaspadam. Tatsukham svafpadaspadam. Svafpadaspadam. Okay. So that is swaha iti padena. Okay. Bodhyamanam sukham tat. Okay. So this svarga here refers to the svarloke vidyamanaha egachanti means devaha. Okay. So martya svarga, that is how Ramarāyaka interprets. You see, martyaha, manushyaha, svargaha. You should not think of heavens. Okay. Svarloke vidyamanaha. Okay. Svargaha means devaha. Svarloke vidyamanaha svargaha. Ritam satyam. Then ahavaha. What does ahava mean? Ahavaha. Ahavaha. You have this word, no? No, Ahavaniya is not the word. In Gita Shloka, Dhyana Shloka, Ahava. So there is a word, Ahava. Ahava can mean Yuddha. Ahava can also mean Yajna. So Ahava, how does it mean both? So Yatra Ahuyante. Okay. See, Ahuyante, you can understand. So in two ways, in fact. One is asamantatu huyante, many people just lose themselves. So the other meaning that you can think of is ahuyante means, so they are being called for. In yajna, you invoke the devata. So you chant the mantra and invite the devata. So for making the offering. And therefore the word ahava refers to yajna. And even in see, Sashabdastumulo bhavat, Bhagavad Gita also we have. See, there also you have to fight. Come on. So see, you invite your own people, right? So there also a lot of shabda will be there. So therefore the word ahava refers to both. Here you should take it as yajna. Ahavaha yajnaha. Then ambaram vyoma tadgataha. So ambaram vyoma tadgataha. So that is how we have the long compound here. See, martyasvargarataha vambaragataha. So then we have varja vanijatmakaha. Varja. Varja. See, vaha is a shabda which is used for referring to water. So it is same as varija. Varja. Varja means those which are born in water. Jalaja. Then
Shankha.
Shankha Shukti Makaradaya. So he is listing a few things which are living in water. Okay. Jaladaha Shankha Shukti Makaradaya. So this is basically, it can be something like flower, some animals which are dwelling in water. Therefore he is saying Makaradaya. So it can also refer to some shell inside. So there also it is basically the shell of some animal, right? So all of them are Varjaha. Then Avanija. Avanija. Avanihi Bhumihi. Okay. Bhujaha. What? Vrihyadayaha. So nothing is being left out. See, what you have to understand is, so whether it is Chetana, whether it is Achetana, whether something which is dwelling on land, whether something which is dwelling on water, something which is born out of water, something which is born out of land. So all of them are essentially the same Chaitanya. See, Paravareshu Bhuteshu Brahmanta Sthavarādishu Bhautikeshu Vikareshu Bhuteshvatha Mahatsucha Guneshu Gunasammeshu Gunavyatikaре Tatha Ekayeva Parohyatma Bhagavan Ishvaro Gyayaha. So that is what he is trying to, the Sarva Murti Rupena Idameva Virajati. That is what he wants to convey. Avanijaha Bhujaha Vrihyadayaha Tadatmakaha Tadrupaha. Then Yajñāṅgaha. We come to the last part of the verse. Yajñāṅgo Girijātmakas Samamayaha. So Yajñāṅgaha here is Yupadihi. Adi Sabdena Sarvam Grahyam. So if you want to have Chamaha, Chamas, if you want to say, whatever, this Ashtakapala. So all of them, see, Yupadi Padartha, that is employed in that. Then Girijatmakaha. The word Girija refers to Nadi, okay, that which is born in mountain. Girijatmakaha Nadyadayaha. Then, so finally he says, Samamayaha Kim Bahuna Samamayaha Sarvatmakaha. Samamayaha Sarvatmakaha Bhavati. Evam, see, in fact, Mayat Shabda, Vikararthe, Prachuryarthe, both are employed. Okay. So Annamaya, Jalamayah Pradeshaha. Janamayah Pradeshaha, you can say. Jalamayah Pradeshaha, you can say. So Samamayaha. So here he is saying. So this is the same person which is dwelling in all beings. See, as Atman, the Chaitanya Rupa. Bhavati Evamapyam Satyasvabhavaha. So in spite of dwelling in all beings, all are only upadhis for this. And therefore he is saying Satyasvabhavaha means Avitathasvabhavaha. There is a typo here. It should be not dha but tha. avitathasvabhavaha. And finally, we have the word mahan. So mahan, why is it called mahan? Sarvakaranatvat. So finally, Ramaraya uses a sentence to imply what is the import that has to be taken from this. Ekayeva atma jagataha natu atma bhedaha iti paramarthaha. Ekayeva parohyatma. So that is what is dwelling. Now I will take you through Bhagavad Pada's Bhashya, as there are a few interesting things in this mantra. So those who have the Bhashya, they can just take. So Bhagavad Pada starts with Satu Naikapuravartyeva Atma Kintarihi Sarvapuravarti. Okay, this Atman you should not just take that, say this is the only Chaitanya where he dwells in this human form. Kintu Sarvapuravarti means whatever be the form, be it animate, be it inanimate, be it sentient, be it insentient, whatever it is. Ekayeva Atma Sarvapuravarti Katham. So the Sarvapuravarti is being explained. Okay? Katham hamsaha hanti gacchati. Then you find the word Shuchishat. See, in the mantra you have Hagum Shuchishat. So what did Ramaraya say? Vedyam Shuchihi. He was saying, right? Vedyam Shuchihi. That is why I said there is some difference in interpretation of a few phrases. One or two, that is all. Okay. So here you see Vedyam Shuchihi. He said Shuchihi is something which is very pure. So Shuchihi, he took it as Agni. Vedyam Shuchihi. Okay. So in the altar, fire altar, he used to be taken as Agni. This is how he was saying. Here, Bhagavad Pada, Shuchau Divi Adityatmana Sidatiti. Shuchishat, he is saying. So Akasha, so does anything stick to Akasha? Nothing. So he is always pure, right? So Shuchihi is Shabdena, Divihi is just taking. Okay? Shuchishat, Sidati. Sidati. Everywhere you have the word Sidati, you have to take. Sidati means that same dhatu. Sadilgat Evadharane. See? Upanishad. See, in fact, in Upanishad we have Sadil. Shadil. Shadil is the dhatu. It will take the form Sadil. Okay? Shadil. So, Visharana Gatyavasadanayo. These are the meanings. So, Gatyartha here you should take. So, Shuchishat, Shuchau Divi Adityatmana Sidatiti. So, we have Agumshat, Shuchishat, Vasuhu. Then the third term, Vasu. Vasuhu. So, how do you understand? Vasayatiti. Vasayatiti Vasuhu. So, Vasayati Sarvan. Sarvan Vasayati. He makes people live. Okay. Vasayatiti Vasuhu. Then we have Antarikshasat. Vasurantariksasat. Antarikshasat. So this is Vayuvatmana Antarikshe Sidati. Simple, the same thing. Antarikshasat. Okay. Then Hota. So Hota. Hota, normally we refer to one of the Ritviks as Hota. In the Yaga, we have Advaryu, hota. There are a few ritiks are there. So here, so he is saying this hota is to be taken as Agnihi. Why we have a certain usage, Agnirvai hota in the Upanishad, okay? In the Vedic corpus. Okay? So that is why he is quoting Agnirvai hota iti shrute. Now, after that, you see, Vedyam Prithivyam Sidatiti Vedishat. This is an interesting interpretation. See, Vedyam he is saying as Prithivyam. How do you understand this? Vedyam Prithivyam Sidatiti Vedishat is a very, very nice interpretation which has been brought by Bhagavad Pada with a quotation from the Shruti, always. So, hota also he said Agnirvai hota. Now, he is quoting some mantra here. Yam vedif parontah prithivya. So, some of you would have heard this. See, there is an interesting mantra. See, Kiggasvidasit purvachittihi. Kiggasvidasit pilipila. So, there is a series of questions and a series of answers will be there. And among the series of answers, you have this appearing. Yam vedif parontah prithivya is there. How do you understand this mantra on its own? Suppose, leave out this in the context. Vedihi is referring to that portion of the Prithvi, as I was saying, that portion of Prithvi which lies in between these two Agnis in a Vaidika karma. Okay, in a Vaidika karma. So, yeah, this one can call it as some Parishkrita Bhumihi. In fact, if you look at Amara, that is how this Vedi will be described as. Vedihi Vedif Parishkrita Bhumihi. Parishkrita Bhumihi means something which has been refined for a certain purposes, okay, which has been decorated for a certain purposes, which has been adorned, whatever you want to say. So, refined. So, Parishkritam means something which has been refined. So, you clean it, you just draw certain things, you just adorn it. So, this is what is called Vedi. Now, if you take this mantra, Yam Vedihi Parontah Prithivya. I was just thinking about this. So, initially, it was a little difficult to initially get the content of it. Yam Vedihi Parontah Prithivyaha. Prithivyaha Parontaha Yam Vedihi. This is a simple sentence, right? Prithivyaha means you can conceive of Prithvi. Parahantaha means Paraha can refer to other. Paraha can refer to the last point. Suppose somebody were to ask, okay, which is the last point of the Prithvi? See, so Veena is saying. So last point of the Prithvi means, so you start from this line, you go around, you will come back to this line or not? So you don't have any other antaha. Yam Vedihi eva antaha, you can say. This is a simple way of understanding this mantra. Yam Vedihi Parontaha Prithivyaha. But then you see, Bhagavad Pada interprets as Vedyam Prithivyam Sidatiti Vedishat. Vedyam Prithivyam Sidatiti Vedishat. So instead of saying this Vedi is this, So it is referred to as Prithvi itself. After all, there are two ways of understanding this. A particular bhaga of Bhumi is also Bhumi. After all, what is Vedi? So you have drawn a certain line. So with the given dimensions, so for performing a ritual there. And therefore a bhaga of Bhumi is also Bhumi. So therefore one can say this also as Prithvi. Prithvi Ekadeshasya Prithvi Shabdena Abhidhanam. Okay? This is one simple way of saying Vedyam Prithivyam Sidatiti Vedishat. So if one were to say this, then he need not quote this. So, having quoted something, the quotation seems to be saying something else now. Right? So it doesn't say Prithvi, Prithivyaha Parontaha Vedihi. Right? Prithivyaha Parontaha Vedihi is what it says. So it doesn't simply say as Prithvi. So what has been done by commentators is, so Parontaha has been interpreted as Parasvabhavaha. Okay, this Anta Shabda can mean various things. Anta can mean Madhya, Anta can mean end, Anta can be. So this Parasvabhavaha means, so this Vedi is created for performing something which is really auspicious, which is beneficial to the entire society. This Vedi is for making some offerings. So therefore, this particular place of Prithvi has Parasvabhava. Parasvabhava means Utkrishta Svabhava. So that is how this mantra has to be understood now. Okay. So I was trying to give some physical picture of it, but this is in a different kind of a visualization. Yam Vedihi Parontaha Parasvabhavaha Prithivyaha. Among the Prithvi there are various places, but this is something which is having Utkrishta Svabhava. So therefore, so Prithvi, Ekadesha is Prithvi, but this mantra has been quoted in order to say that this is something which is so special, which is divine. Okay? So that is how this quotation has to be understood. Vedyam Prithivyam Sitatiti Vedishat Yam Vedih Parontah Prithivyaha Iti Mantra Varnat. Then further, Atithihi Somassan Durone Kalashe Sidatiti Duronasat. So then, so Durona Shabda, this Durona is used to refer to a space where someone resides, something resides. Okay. It can be taken as Griha, it can be taken as Kalasha. Vasurantariksha Sadhota Vedishad Atithir Duronasat. So, Atithir Duronasat. So, this Atithir Duronasat is the one which has been explained by Rāmarāya in the second quarter. If you look at the verse, so in that verse he says, see, Somo va kalashe grihe sadatithis sanvartate brahmanaha. So the word Durona, once you take it as Kalasha, so with reference to Yajna, something is very important, Somarasa. The other one with reference to Griha, so he says Atithi. So Atithihi is Pujaniyaha in a Griha, and in the case of a Yaga, the Soma is something which is of reverence. Okay. So that is how this mantra is to be understood, Duro Nasat. So here Bhagavad Pada says, if you see, Atithihi Somassan Durone Kalashe Sidatiti Duro Nasat. That is the first part. He explains. After that he says, Brahmanaha atithirupena va duroneshu griheshu sidatiti duronasat. Both have been taken care by Ramaraya in the second quarter of the verse. Okay. Duronasat. Then Drishadvarasat. Drishat, Drishu, Manusheshu, Sidatiti, Drishat. Okay. So, Drishabda refers to Manushya. Okay. That is why he said Martya. Drishat, Drishu, Manusheshu, Sidatiti, Drishat. Then Varasat. Varaha means Shresthaha. Understand? Varaha means Shresthaha. So, Varaha, Variyan, Varishtaha. So, Varaha, Varasat means Kasmad Varaha, Manushyaad Varaha, this Deva. Okay, that is how we have the word. He says Varasat, Vareshu, Deveshu, Sidatiti, Varasat. Okay. Drishad Varasat. Then, Ritasat. Ritam Satyam Yajñova. So he uses the word ahava. So yajñova, he just puts both of them separately. Here Acharya says this or that. Similarly, duronasat. See, you understand? So both interpretations are separately given by Ramaraya. Acharya says this or that. Ritasat, ritam satyam yajñova, tasmin sidatiti ritasat. Then vyomasat, vyomni akashe sidatiti vyomasat. Drishadvarasad tasad vyomasat. Okay. Then we come to the last quarter. Abjaha, apsu, shankhashukti makaradi rupena jayate. So, Shankha Shukti refer to the shells of those animals. Shankha Shukti Makaradi Rupena Jayate iti Abjaha. Then Goja. This Goja, you should not take it as something which has come from cow. So, here this Go also means Prithvi. Okay. Therefore, he is saying Goja. That is what Ramaraya says, Avanija. Varja, Avanija, we are saying. Gojaha, Gavi, Prithivyam, Vrihi, Avadi, Rupena, Jayate, iti Gojaha, Ritajaha. So, Yajñanga Rupena. So, the word Rita, he said, either it can be taken as Yajña or it can be taken as Satya. So, therefore, here he says Ritajaha. Yajñanga Rupena Jayate iti Ritajaha. Any part of the yajna. That is why we have no Yajño, Yajñapatir, Yajva, Yajñango, Yajñavahanaha. Yajñabhrid, Yajñakrid, Yajñi, Yajñabhuk, Yajñasadhanaha. So, most of them are listed here. If you just see Hota, etc. Okay. So, Ritajaha Yajñanga Rupena Jayate iti Ritajaha. Then we have Adrijaha. See, Adrija. See, Adri is Parvata. Nadyadi Rupena Jayate iti Adrija. Then, Sarvatma Visan Ritam Avitathas Svabhavaha. Avitathas Svabhavaha. So, why? That is the Sadrupa. See, the Sadrupa and Chidrupa of these things do not perish. It is only the shell which perishes. Okay? So, that is why he is saying, Sarvatma Pisannritam Avitathas Svabhavaha. Then, finally, Brihat Mahan Sarvakaranatvat. Now, there is a last sentence which is an interesting sentence which has been introduced by Bhagavad Pada. Why does he introduce that? He introduces it because this mantra is used to refer to Aditya in a slightly different interpretation in the Vedic literature. So therefore, he is just introducing this sentence. See, Yadapyadityeva mantrena uchyate. Understand? Yadapi adityeva mantrena uchyate. Why is he using this clause? So, Vaidika Grantheshu, you understand? In the Vedic corpus, so this Upanishad you leave. Elsewhere also the same mantra occurs. So there the interpretation that has been given is Aditya. So therefore he is saying Mantrena uchyate tadapi Atmaswarupatvam Adityasya tadapi see tadapi Atmaswarupatvam Adityasya Angikritamiti Brahmani Vyakhyane Pyavirodha. So it is not that physical mandala. In fact, even Rāmarāyakavi was saying, no? The mandalagata chaitanyameva atra idanim suchyate. So that is what he has inserted. So finally he says, Sarvathapi ekayeva atma jagataha na atma bhedaha iti mantrarthaha. So that is the sum and substance of this. See, even when you read this Vishnu Sahasranama, so there will be various phrases like this. Yajño yajñapativyajva. In fact, Brahmarpanam Brahma with Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmiva tena gantayam. So this is the point that is being said. Before we wind up the class, so I will give you an interesting usage of the word Vedi. So we will take up the verse in the next class. This Vedi, so Kalidasa in his Kumara Sambhava, he uses this Vedi word as a simile. So there is a very interesting verse. So since we have bright students here and young students, so we should make them learn this verse also. I will tell you, this is a very beautiful verse which has been composed by Kalidasa while describing the beauty of Parvati. Okay, you repeat the verse. Madhyena sa Vedi vilagna madhya Vedi vilagna madhya Valitrayam Charu babhara bala Charu babhara bala Charu babhara bala Arohanartham Navayauvanena Kamasya sopanamiva prayuktam Kamasya sopanamiva prayuktam This is really a beautiful imagination. I will repeat once more. See, you repeat the sloka. See. Madhyena sa Vedi vilagna madhya Madhyena sa Vedi vilagna madhya Madhyena sa Vedi vilagna madhya Valitrayam Charu babhara bala Valitrayam Charu babhara bala Valitrayam Charu babhara bala Arohanartham Navayauvanena Arohanartham Navayauvanena Arohanartham Navayauvanena Kamasya sopanamiva prayuktam Kamasya sopanamiva prayuktam Kamasya sopanamiva prayuktam. So the later part, the first quarter basically uses the word Vedi as a simile. If any of you have seen this Vedi, what happens is, so it will be, you first curve a rectangular portion sort of, it is not even rectangular. So one side the length will be say x, the other side the length will be some x plus something. Okay, so two lines you draw, parallel lines, and then you don't connect them by a straight line, but you use a certain curve. Okay, so it will be sort of curved line. So there is a small segment, there is a big segment which are parallel, and then that end will be connected to this end by a curved line. So since it is a curved line inside, so you find that the center of that Vedi, okay, so has much shorter distance. Okay, so here Kalidasa wants to describe this Bala, this Parvati. In fact, the word Bala is Shodasha Vayaska Stri. This is a word Bala, otherwise you should use Balika. Okay. So the one who is 16-year-old, just getting into the youthful stage. So she should be described as Bala. This is a, even in Lilavati, he will use Bale, Lilavati. Okay. So that is one thing. So now he is saying this Parvati, so just getting into her youthhood. So her waist is somewhat quite slender. So here the word you use to refer to Vedi, that which are Vedi Vilagna. Vilagna is the word which is used to refer to the slenderness of the waist of Parvati. So as the middle portion of the Vedi, which is a long one in fact, okay, is somewhat slender in its mid portion. Similarly, the Sharira has this. But besides that, she has some other thing which has much more charm. Okay, the poetic imagination, the fright of the poet. He says Valitrayam. Valitraya here refers to, so three charming folds. So there are folds in the waist portion. Okay. It is not bulged, it is a, so there are three folds he is saying. And these folds have been created by the youth of Parvati. And he says, why have they been created? For the Kama to ascend step by step. See, Sopanamiva means as if they are steps. See, Arohanartham, Kasya Arohanartham, Kamasya Arohanartham. See, for him to move up step by step, Navayauvanena Kamasya Sopanamiva Prayuktam. So this is a nice imagination of Kalidasa to just describe how the beauty of Parvati was. Okay, I think we shall stop here. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahavirjam Karavavahi Tejasvinavadhi Tamastu Maviddashavahi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sarve Sukhina Santu, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhavet. Om